Car chases are dangerous and unpredictable. Viewer discretion advised.
Let's go to some breaking news right now. We have understanding of a CHP chasing a motorcycle right now. Lena.
Let's go up to Stu Mandela in Sky 9 for more information. What's going on here, Stu?
Well, you know what? Over 100 miles an hour, southbound 605, passing South Street, a motorcycle. So very dangerous situation, especially for that rider. And of course, the California Highway Patrol having to keep up with him. You can see him there in the HOV lane, moving at very high speeds, blacked out. That means basically he's just got his lights off on that motorcycle. Not going to make any difference. They are right there behind him, and they have their lights and sirens on. And the California and the Sheriff's Department is above him, lighting him up. Just passing, still 100 plus is what they're saying. Passing Delamo, you saw the sign right there. I'm listening to them as well, and it seems like he's actually speeding up. If we're passing Delamo, that's going to put us in about the Cerritos area or Lakewood, depending on what side of the freeway you're on. But this is still a very dangerous situation. Motorcycle rider, usually when they're at these high speeds like this, they'll just hand it off to the helicopter. This time, the California Highway Patrol staying behind it and keeping up with it, which in itself is a trick. 100 plus is what our speeds are right now. We've been trying to catch up in Sky 9, and we've been doing it. And I can tell you that we were going about 140 to get here. Right now, we're slowing up a little bit, just getting over it, and we're still at about 130 miles an hour.
So, Stu, tell us a bit about the protocol when it comes to pursuing a motorcyclist, because obviously that's got to be something different. I would assume that the pit maneuver is thrown out. There's nothing, when it comes to damaging and hurting an individual on a motorcycle that doesn't have a lot of protection. So what do they do in times like this when they're chasing a motorcyclist?
You know, that's one of the reasons what makes this so dangerous. You know, you got this guy on a bike. A lot of times these guys will think that they've got it, that they can handle that motorcycle. You know, anything can happen, and that's the deal with these bikes. You know, they basically work on gravity, and, you know, the deal is, you know, you're going to hit a little bit of dirt on a hard turn, that bike is going down. Somebody's going to change lanes into you, you're going to get hurt. And that's what California Highway Patrol, that's one of the things that they're worried about. That's the reason why they don't like these crazy high speeds for the motorcycles and or any other vehicles. But on these motorcycles, you have to understand, you know, this guy is going to come up on somebody so fast, a driver on the roadway might not even know he's coming up on him. Yeah. It does look like the headlight is on. It is kind of a weird thing. Maybe this bike is designed maybe to elude officers. The headlights are on, tail lights are off. Maybe it's just a bad bulb. But, you know, right now, though, the California Highway Patrol, they want him to stop. No license plate on this motorcycle either. Makes it all very interesting for the chase in itself. But for officers, it kind of makes you wonder why he's running and what he's running from.
Right, so Stu Mandela above this chase right now, originally wanted over for speeding, and you can see why. He's going 100 miles an hour plus right now on the southbound 605. We're now in the Long Beach area. That was fast. So we're in Cerritos, now in the Long Beach area. And again, just as Jeff mentioned, it's not like any other pursuit where they might perform a pit maneuver. CHP now pursuing a motorcycle, and really all they can really do is follow him until something happens and he stops. Yeah, this motorcyclist is going 130 miles per hour. And Stu, it looks like this is one of those sport bikes. So, I mean, it doesn't look like it's one of those, you know, the bigger, heavier Harley Davidson or the Indian type motorcycles. It looks like it's one of those very nimble sport bikes as this cruiser's getting right up next to him.
You know, definitely, Jeff. And you know that last time when we had that Harley pursuit, I got some people on the social media kind of hitting me up saying, you know, you shouldn't be saying that about those Harleys. You know, I always have huge respect for any motorcycle. That one right there, you have to excuse us. Underneath that overpass, looks like we're going to be going onto the 405 freeway. We're going to keep it in that light, keeping us abreast of where he's at. That bike, though, just from a layman's point of view, I'm not a motorcycle aficionado by any means, but it does look like it has a longer throw on that rear arm for that wheel. So definitely a modified motorcycle, definitely a high-speed bike, They never gave a make or a model. I can tell you probably some sort of Japanese bike, but I can tell you extremely fast. When he hits that throttle, he basically creates a huge distance between the officers and himself. And you can see him now really starting to move out. Southbound 405 freeway will get you across here in just a minute. But at these speeds, you can see how he's moving these other vehicles, moving past all these other vehicles, almost like they're standing still. This bike really keeping that speed up, and that is very dangerous for everybody involved, especially that motorcycle rider.
Yeah, and all the chases that we've covered, Stu, I actually remember a couple of them where they were motorcycle chases and they were able to get away. One, because they were, they're able to move faster, get to an area and maybe get off the bike, ditch the bike and run into a mall. Obviously, at this time, that's going to be harder for him to do, but really is interesting to watch this go on. As he is now on the southbound 405, we're already in the Seal Beach area. It was just minutes ago we were in Cerritos, but that's how fast this guy is going. Was in the carpool lane, now moving faster into the middle of the freeway there. And how many units do we have behind him? We see that the officers are actually getting quite close to him, Stu.
Those officers are getting closer to him, but of course you know that they can't do anything like hit the motorcycle. They're basically trying to keep up, warning the public that something is going on. Those lights and sirens right now, they are basically telling that person, hey, you need to pull over. But also, it looks like we might be getting on a 405 southbound. We're saying on 405 southbound. I thought maybe he was going to be taking an off-ramp there. But, this bike, look at that. He opens that up, he turns that throttle, and look at the distance that is created between those officers and him. I was just taking a look because I wanted to get an idea of exactly what city we're in right now. But I can also tell you that the helicopter Sky 9 this evening, we are going about 110 miles an hour and basically tracking. So this guy's going about 110, maybe 120. Those CHP units, they're tracking this guy, so they're doing those same speeds. Dangerous for those officers, dangerous for the guy on that motorcycle, and we're getting very close to the Westminster area right now, but this pursuit continues on. California Highway Patrol, they are on the ground in Westminster, excuse me, if it made it sound like we're passing Westminster. We're in Westminster now, and in the air, I understand it that they're switching out helicopters. California Highway Patrol helicopter is going to be up there as well right now. But this pursuit continues on extremely high speeds, and you talked about in the past we've seen these come to an end with these guys getting away. Don't be fooled. They might lose them for the time being, but they usually, in the end, will get their guy. In this case, though, they don't have a license plate. That might be one of the reasons why they're staying right there behind him, because they don't have any information on that motorcycle or who this person is. And it also is very unusual. We haven't seen any brake lights. Don't know if he's been using them, but he definitely doesn't have a rear tail light on this motorcycle. Makes you kind of wonder, maybe there's something else going on as this bike continues to try to elude California Highway Patrol at speeds of right now 115 miles an hour, southbound 405 in Westminster.
Yeah, and 115 miles an hour is dangerous during the daytime. At night, when you can't see the contour of the road necessarily, everything is coming up on you so much more quickly than it is during the daytime. This is very dangerous pursuit that police are in right now with this motorcyclist going over 100 miles per hour. Stu has mentioned 115, even 130 miles per hour. We don't know how fast this individual is going at this point in time. But the original want for this was they were trying to pull him over for speeding along the 605 freeway at one point in time, and then that's when he just took off. And anybody who knows anything about these sport bikes knows that they can accelerate rapidly and they can go very fast. It's not unheard of to see these things go 160, 175 miles per hour.
Absolutely. Officers have actually been doing a very good job keeping up with this motorcycle despite how quickly he's traveling here. But like Stu said, there's no license plate. So they don't have any information on this motorcyclist right now. They can't run the plates. They don't know if it's stolen. They don't know who owns it. And that's why they're trying really hard to keep up with him. And as he runs into traffic, I think that's when it's going to be a little bit easier for him to pull away. Since the patrol cars still have to maneuver around those other cars. But Stu, now we're in the Westminster area. We were in Cerritos just a few minutes ago. I mean, he is going really fast.
I'm sorry.
And look how dangerous this is because, he's got his headlight there, but I'm telling you, when he's going that fast and you're driving and he comes up behind you.
Fountain Valley.
Well, not only that, but
Fountain Valley now.
Fountain Valley is where we are already. Yeah, we're already in the Fountain Valley area. This guy is moving at Sky 9 speeds. You know, we are just really kind of just clicking them off one by one by one. And we're crossing Warner right now, southbound 405 freeway. California Highway Patrol right there behind him. You know, a lot of times we'll see, you know, these motorcycle chases will end so quickly, and you know, you see him turning around, looking behind him every now and then. Dangerous in itself, keeping his eyes off the front, off of what's coming up ahead of him, wondering where those officers are. A lot of times they will back down because of those high speeds, because it is a motorcycle. And, you know, maybe that's one of the things. Maybe he's been in this situation before and the officers have backed off. This time, not backing off. They have a helicopter overhead. That's the California Highway Patrol helicopter overhead, providing that light. And now we're passing Brookhurst, so you can get an idea how quickly this guy is moving along here on the freeway. Those officers from the California Highway Patrol, we haven't even heard these guys do their switch out. A lot of times when we get through into different areas, the California Highway Patrol will move their vehicles out. They patrol areas, much like any LAPD or any law enforcement. When sometimes they'll swap out those vehicles, but that lead one, that lead SUV, I believe that's the same one from when this started, all the way up in the Whittier area. That's where it came up, or where it started from. So there we go. We were talking about how they haven't switched it out. There they are. They're switching it out right now. Now that basically just means that we're in a different jurisdiction, and that California Highway Patrol vehicle is just going to take the lead. Right now we're passing Ellis, but it gives you an idea how fast this is. And take a look when we're just going along out here. I'm kind of keeping this wider shot. Those guys probably doing, you know, let's face it, it's California, probably doing about 70, 75 miles an hour. Look how quickly he just blows by everybody. Luckily, we haven't seen any unusual lane changes. Luckily, we haven't seen anybody make get panicked or slow down. And as for traffic, well, I'm looking out through out the front windscreen right now, and I can tell you, it is clear. It's about like this, so it's clear sailing for this bike as far as I can see for the time being.
Yeah, and the other thing that you need to consider there are road conditions. I mean, we know how bad some of the roads are in some of our areas. There are potholes out there, and if you're going 130 miles an hour and you hit a pothole, you lose control, and then you're done and over with. And of course, it's dark out there. You just have no idea what this guy is going to, what's going to happen to him. That's going 130 miles per hour. As we're watching this pursuit here live on KCAL 9 CHP in pursuit of a motorcyclist there wanted for speeding. No plates on that motorcycle. And Lena, this person has gone through El Monte, Cerritos, Long Beach, Westminster, blew right past Huntington Woods in a matter of seconds because it's going so fast. Seal Beach and now Fountain Valley and Costa Mesa. Yeah, we're in Costa Mesa right now. So, Stu, a question for you. Have you ever seen a CHP motorcycle unit involved in a chase?
We have. We actually have, and they can keep up with those higher speeds. But we've never seen them just by themselves. Right now he's slowing down, getting into the 80s right now. 85 miles an hour was just the official from one of the units down there on the ground. As we continue now, southbound 405, I'm looking out the window. I see John Wayne Airport coming up ahead of us. So it gives you an idea we're going to be in the Anaheim area. But this just continues on, and we just follow along. And, it started up in Whittier. You always play that game like, where's he going? What's he doing? Where does he live? You really got to wonder, this guy is getting farther and farther away, or is he getting closer and closer to where he lives? At any rate, California Highway Patrol, they're going to be right there with him when this comes to an end. Hopefully, we'll call it one of those non-dramatic endings. And the only reason I say that is because I never want to see anybody get hurt, even the suspects. But right now we're crossing the 55, as I understand it. But we're staying on the 55, and we're staying on the 405 south. Okay, you are watching this live pursuit, CHP in pursuit of a motorcyclist at a high rate of speed. This is KCAL 9 News at 10 o'clock. As we're following this live, Stu Mandel is in Sky 9. We can tell you a little bit about this person on the back of this motorcycle.
Police officers tried to pull him over for speeding, and then he never stopped. He just kept going. We understand the speeds have been anywhere from 100 to 115 to 130 miles per hour. CHP 2 units behind this motorcyclist that is now southbound 405. It started in the Whittier area and has gone through a number of cities, as you might imagine, because this motorcyclist is going above 100 miles per hour. It started in Whittier. It's gone through El Monte, Cerritos, Long Beach, Seal Beach, Westminster, Fountain Valley. Went right through a number of cities in a quick amount of time as it's on this highway. At one point in time, it was over there on the left side in the HOV lanes, and we thought maybe at one point in time the driver was thinking about going over to the right side and maybe was going to exit. But there are 2 CHP units behind him, and they are keeping up pace with him, although he is quite a ways out in front of him. 130 miles per hour is the top speed that we know at this point in time. Stu Mendel has been following this for quite a bit. And Stu, this appears to be some sort of modified sport bike. Now, I did a little bit of research, and those motorcycles can go up to about 185 miles per hour, but as it looks there, the back wheel appears to be extended. It's got a big fat racing slick type of a tire on there, and you just wonder if this guy has done some work to the engine to make it even faster, and he's kind of doing that right now at 130 miles per hour. It's pretty dangerous.
Well, you know, we can only wonder what this guy has done to that motorcycle, and we can only hope that he's able to handle whatever has been done to this motorcycle. Right now, though, California Highway Patrol, they're moving their units around. They're still behind it. You're right, though. There is very little that they can do to bring this to a stop or a forceful ending. There's no way they're going to be able to do a pit maneuver. There's no way they're going to try to block this guy in because they're, you know, again, law enforcement, they are concerned about safety, and they don't want any kind of injuries to happen to even the suspects in these situations. Original want for this, probably going to be speed, might be the fact that there's no plate, might be the fact that there's no rear tail light. That headlight is on, but we've never seen any kind of brake light. Doing a little bit of a maneuvering right there, kind of moving around, but you know, it's established in the Irvine area right now. Still those high speeds. The slowest we saw was about 85, and those numbers came from the California Highway Patrol.
And this is breaking news here on KCAL9 News at 10 alongside Jeff Vaughn. Good evening, everyone. I'm Susie Suh. Again, this is a CHP pursuit of a motorcyclist who has been going at speeds of up to 120 miles per hour. Stu, we know that actually, you know, cars, vehicles, they have bigger tanks, but this motorcyclist's got to run out of gas at some point.
Well, you know, Susie, a bike like that, well, he's pretty much running that thing full throttle, so, you know, I can't even guess what the mileage would be. Smaller tank, but it's a smaller engine. It carries a lot less weight, so they get about the same type of gas mileage. I was kind of thinking the same thing, though, as well. Those bikes like that, those sport bikes, they usually don't fill them to the top. But again, who knows? This guy might have had it completely filled up, and you know, he might have been on planning a long trip or a long ride. At any rate, it continues on out here, high speeds. Every time that bike makes those little wobbly moves where he's going right there, he's actually in the emergency lane, as I understand it. You know, whoa, hitting the brakes there, hitting the brakes. And you know, that's those kind of things right there. You just got to wonder what is going on with this guy, and you know, you just panic. Yeah, like the blood just ran out of my fingers running the camera when he did that. Don't know if that was for trying to tell those officers to back off or if he actually saw something, but look how quickly something can go wrong. Definitely. We're coming up on the 133 now, so might be leaving the Irvine area, and we're continuing southbound, but El Toro is the next off-ramp that we'll be passing if we haven't already. Again, this motorcycle moving so quickly this evening. California Highway Patrol right behind it. They just want this guy to pull over. Obviously, watching this at these high speeds with all these other cars on the freeway, everybody's probably worried that somebody's going to get hurt. And you know, if that bike makes contact with something, chances are it's going to be the rider of that motorcycle. Nobody wants to see that. California Highway Patrol doing what they can to keep everybody involved in this pursuit safe. And all they can do right now, lights and sirens, and stay behind them.
Yeah, we think the 405 is going to run out here pretty rapidly as this motorcyclist in this pursuit is going pretty fast. And they'll end up in the 110 at this point in time. It's in Irvine. CHP in pursuit of this motorcycle.
Freeway, that is.
The 5 freeway. CHP in pursuit of a motorcyclist wanted for speeding and just didn't stop. And you see he's passing some of these bigger trucks along the highway there. I saw moments ago a tanker truck. He just passed like it was standing still. He's going 115, 130 miles per hour is the top speed. You see the spotlight there from a police helicopter, 2 CHP units behind him that are keeping up with him, but are still a little ways back because, as I mentioned, 130 miles per hour is pretty fast. And when you're on a motorcycle like this and it's at night and the road conditions, I mean, if there was, you know, God forbid, if there was a rock in the road, or if there was something that was, you know, maybe it was something, a pothole, and this motorcyclist hits that at going, you know, 100 plus miles an hour, he's going to lose control and he's going to crash. And police officers, Susie, can't do the pit maneuver. They can't throw out the stop sticks because that's in danger of the guy on the back of that bike. So you just wonder how this is going to end with him going so fast and how police can stop him.
Yeah, just so nerve-wracking, Jeff, to watch this right now at these high rates of speed. The headlights are on, as Stu mentioned earlier, but taillights, as you can see, have been off. We don't know why that is, if this motorcyclist has controlled that, or, you know, something, maybe some defect of his car or his motorcycle. But the CHP cruisers got really close at many points during this chase. And we saw the motorcyclist just kind of looking back just to see where those cruisers were, and then kind of just, you know, hitting that throttle and speeding up after that. As you mentioned, Jeff, not much the CHP can do at this point, aside from keep on tracking this motorcyclist, because, you know, at these high rates of speed, there's just no way they're going to try anything.
Yeah, I can say that the miles per gallon on a motorcycle are very high. I mean, they're very fuel efficient. They're small engines. Not that, you know, that they can go forever, of course, but this on a full tank of gas, if that was the case, could go for a long, long time, even at speeds like this, because they're very efficient, they're very light, and they get a very high gas mileage. Yeah,
as we mentioned to you, this started in Whittier off the 605 freeway, then Cerritos, then into the cities of Long Beach, to the 405 southbound into Seal Beach, into Orange County, Westminster, Fountain Valley, Irvine, where we're in South Orange County, now in the Lake Forest area, just off the 5 freeway.
It was interesting. We're talking about Huntington Woods. He just was a blink of an eye because he was going so fast right through that area. As we continue to follow the CHP in pursuit of a motorcyclist here on KCAL 9. This is live. Stu Mundell is live as well. He's above in Sky 9 with a look at the very latest. So, Stu, this guy continues to kind of weave his way through some of the traffic, and appears to be mainly on the left side of the road in the HOV lane or the emergency lane for the most part. But I wonder, you know, you had a good picture of him putting on the brakes. You know, you're going that fast, people come up very quickly when you're going that fast, and I would have to hope that if he has a clear lane, that'd be the best situation. Otherwise, traffic could be very, very dicey for this guy.
You know, right now, I can tell you, southbound 5 freeway, he keeps doing this like little gesture on the bike where he's kind of like trying to, maybe he's getting a little uncomfortable, but sitting in that position for so long. Maybe his back's getting cold. I don't know if he's got to know that his shirt's riding up like that. Embarrassing moments, but hopefully that's the only thing that he's going to have to worry about. Well, that and being arrested when this comes to an end. Right now, though, we're southbound 5 freeway, well established in the Mission Viejo area. We're passing La Paz, passing La Paz. So, and I can tell you that looking ahead, I saw a lot of taillights, and we're starting to see that what's happening out here in those taillights. He's starting to weave in and out through this kind of little patch of traffic, and he's doing that little jumpy thing again in there, probably just trying to reposition himself, maybe getting a little tired of basically just going 130 miles an hour on the freeways this evening. Now, the traffic, though, even though there's traffic out here, the California Highway Patrol, lights and sirens, and they have that helicopter over above. If he uses the traffic to his advantage, which he might, you know, we saw him earlier on kind of lead him into like a pack of traffic and then really open that throttle up. If he's thinking that that's going to create the distance that he needs, it's not. And if he thinks that California Highway Patrol is just going to throw their hands up, it's probably not. Right now, though, I see more traffic up ahead, but it's kind of more of the same. But they're going to stay there with him, right behind him, and the helicopter is definitely above. Original want, you know, we're bouncing around with that. We heard earlier on was speed started in Whittier on the 605. That's where we heard it originally. Southbound 605, maybe the El Monte area. The El Monte area is where it started on the 605. We picked it up in the Whittier area. But This continues on up here, high speeds. We saw that one moment where he did really tap those brakes. It was a little hair raising. No vehicles in front of him, so I was wondering maybe he was doing that to get the California Highway Patrol to back off. The vehicles might, but that helicopter is going to stay above and keep lighting them up, calling out those streets. And as we're under, and I'm getting a heads up from my pilot that if this gets too much farther down, we're talking like San Onofre, I think. We are gonna start getting into some weather, but the officers on the ground will continue on. Hopefully this guy will just come to his senses, pull over, but we haven't seen anything that indicates that this guy might even have any senses.
You know, oftentimes with motorcycle chases, we see them, getting off the freeway and, speeding through these neighborhoods and maybe hiding somewhere because because they're not in a car. They can jump off their motorcycle just quickly, and just, go hide somewhere. But we haven't seen that in this case, Stu. They've been on the freeway this entire time.
Yeah, and this guy is very committed. I mean, he's going, and it doesn't appear that he's going to stop or even interested in stopping at this point in time. We see so many other pursuits where the driver slows down, thinks about it, but on the back of this motorcycle, he's just going full tilt this whole time.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Stu.
I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm sorry about that. I've been kind of juggling some radios up here and getting some locations and just trying to gather more information about what's going to happen, how we're going to handle it if we get into weather, which we might. This guy just keeps on moving along out here. Southbound 405, we're going to be getting into, southbound 5 freeway, getting into the San Juan Capistrano area. This is, I know there's some construction coming up on the 405. Excuse me, I keep saying that. On the 5 freeway, we do know that they're going to be coming down to a couple of lanes. Don't know if it's before the fog or after the fog. But right now, I can tell you that this guy's still moving along. Haven't seen any signs of the bike slowing down at all. And you know what? He has. Technically, he has. He's gone from about 130, sometimes down to 85. So, but in most part, he's been right around the 100 mile an hour. So 3 numbers, huge speeds. Luckily, nobody's been hurt so far, and this bike continues on. California Highway Patrol, they've got the helicopter overhead, and then of course they've got the cars behind them. I'm going to go a little bit wider here. I don't think we're going to lose this guy, but even though there's that traffic, you can see that the closest unit from the California Highway Patrol still so close behind, and this is going to continue on until that bike comes to a stop. Hopefully it's going to come to a stop with the rider just saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to pull over, I ran out of gas, or something along those lines. Other than that, it's just going to continue on out here. Southbound 5 freeway, I can tell you we are definitely in the San Juan Capistrano area now. California Highway Patrol keeping up as this motorcycle keeps up those high speeds. Right now, traffic's starting to thin out again, but he has not really been opening up that throttle. Makes you kind of wonder, maybe he's starting to think, hopefully he's starting to think, just pull over.
Yeah, you can see the motorcyclists just flying by these cars on the freeway, so it really gives you idea. Let's say a driver is going 70-some miles per hour, going the speed limit, and you can just see right there, just flying by those cars. And this motorcyclist really putting some mileage on this bike tonight, from Whittier to San Juan Capistrano in South Orange County. That's about more than 50 miles. And that's just within a matter of 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, he's going 100 plus miles an hour, so he's zipping right along there. And the bad thing about this is at that speed, unless he was to do the right thing, pull over to the right-hand side of the road, put the kickstand down the bike and stand up with your hands up, that'd be the best thing, because at speeds like this, at night on a motorcycle, if you crash, you're going to be badly injured. You may die. And police are just going to have to continue to follow you, and they have the resources to bring out people over and over and over again. They got the helicopter. You're not going to outrun the helicopter. Yeah. So that's the bad thing, is in a situation like this, and a guy on a motorcycle, it's very, very dangerous for him, because you can't do this, the spike strips. You can't stop him in a pit maneuver, but a car could be slow in front of him. It's night, and he's going 100 miles an hour, and there's somebody doing 50, and then You know, right there, you see him go between two cars.
Yeah,
I mean, this is very dangerous.
splitting the lanes
for this
right
individual.
there. Yeah, as the CHP unit was pretty close to him right there. But again, just, you know, hits that throttle and speeding up again. And he's way ahead again of those patrol cars. But the CHP helicopter definitely on top of this. And so is our Stu Mendel. Stu, what are you seeing from your vantage point?
Well, we just passed Beach Cities off the 5 freeway. We made that turn, so we're going to be in the Dana Point area, as I understand it. Capistrano Beach. Yes, Capistrano Beach. Sorry about that. I saw him taking some more chances that we hadn't seen in the past. You went right between those two vehicles. I heard Susie gasp there earlier on. I did too, trust me, when he did that little maneuver going between those two cars. Right now, though, don't know if he's getting more desperate. Don't know if maybe he's starting to run out of gas. Gosh only knows. That bike, though, really standing up to these type of speeds. It continues on out here. We haven't seen any kind of mechanical issues or the bike trying to, you know, it may be slowing it down, trying to let it cool down, anything like that. It just continues on out here. Not crazy hot or outside tonight. The cooler weather might be a good factor, but a lot of these bikes are water cooled, so you know it's not going to deal with the temperatures outside. The California Highway Patrol, you know what, their cars solid. You know, they get maintenance regularly, and they are newer vehicles, and you can actually see the lights right there from the California Highway Patrol just kind of bouncing around in the background. And you know, that means this guy knows these guys are right there. He knows that they're still following him. The lights from the helicopter, that's what you're seeing. That's not us. That's going to be California Highway Patrol. And it continues on as we're making our way down heading towards San Onofre. Not sure how long Sky 9 can follow along. There's going to be some restricted areas out there. Camp Pendleton's coming up. Sure. And then, of course, there's also, we know that there's some weather. So I hate to like wave goodbye to this, but we are getting close to that point, but we're going to follow it till we can't follow it anymore.
Yeah, and you know, I'm taking a look at Google Maps here, and it is green all the way down to the border. So he's got clear, not to say that he would go all that way, but you know, there's a number of places he could go off of the 5 freeway. But as far as the 5 freeway goes, you take a look at maybe traffic thickening up, and then that could maybe slow this down, and they could, you know, put this guy in custody. But it appears that it is clear and open all the way down past San Diego at this point in time.
Especially at this hour, that is usually not the case unless there's a big accident or something like that. So it looks like this guy is pretty much smooth sailing all the way down to, you know, we're really close to San Diego County now, where we believe, I'm sure at some point, the jurisdictions will probably change for the CHP as well.
Sure
but if you're just joining us here on KCAL 9 News at 10, this is breaking news. We've been following this since the 9 o'clock hour. A CHP pursuit of a motorcyclist, high-speed motorcycle with no license plate, headlights on, tail lights off, wanted for speeding originally in the El Monte area. Then we picked it up in Whittier off the 605 freeway, went through the cities of Cerritos, Long Beach, the 405 freeway southbound into Seal Beach, Westminster, Fountain Valley in Orange County, Irvine, then headed onto the 5 freeway in Lake Forest when the 405 ran out, and Mission Viejo, San Juan Capistrano, San Clemente, and here we are right now, and that's where this motorcyclist is just speeding along. Yeah,
this is one of those sport bikes. It appears to be a modified motorcycle, and if you take a look at how fast those things can go, well, we can tell you we've seen this thing going above 100 miles per hour. Stu Mendel in Sky 9 is clocked at 115, 130 miles per hour is the top speed during this pursuit tonight. But if you have a modified sport bike, you could go 150, 180 miles per hour top end. Not to say that this bike could do that, but you know, if the rider is experienced enough, then he could certainly go that fast on roads like this. And certainly there's a bigger room for error there and for danger if you're going that fast. Yeah, and we saw the CHP cruisers get pretty close to this motorcyclist at many points throughout this chase. But you know, the motorcyclist just kind of looks back at them just to make sure that he knows that they're on their tail, and he just kind of, you know, pushed that throttle and kept on going. It does appear to be very comfortable on the back of that bike. So you wonder, since it's modified a little bit, if he has some experience in racing or doing whatever. But this is something that you don't want to do on a freeway, because you endanger other people. You're going too fast, and somebody in front of you is going slower, and it's nighttime. The road conditions, there could be some debris. I mean, I see debris on the roads all the time. If you're going 120 miles per hour on a motorcycle and you hit something, you lose control, and that's it. I mean, he does have his helmet on. But he's just got a light T-shirt on, and you know, if he hits the road, that road rash is going to cause a lot of injury, if not possibly death.
Yeah, that's for sure. We've seen this motorcyclist weaving in and out of lanes, speeding, obviously, splitting lanes. Stu Mandel is overhead in Sky 9 now with a look. Stu.
Well, Susie, you know, just to mention, go with what Jeff was talking about, this guy's got shorts on or some sort of cutoff. So, you know, obviously, you know, he might be accomplished, and I'm using those terms very, very lightly. I never want to give these guys too much credit, but he definitely does not have, like, the gear that you see some of these guys wearing. A lot of times they'll have that basically road armor, those thick leathers for the pants, those thick jackets with the protection for their backs. This guy, he's got basically a hoodie and some shorts and that helmet. And he's continuing to weave in and out of traffic out here as it's getting a little bit darker. And I can tell you, we're getting very close to San Onofre. We were making plans to maybe get up over that restricted airspace, but even if we get over it, we have clouds up ahead. So Sky 9 is we're gonna stay with it. I mean, if we have to stop and just kind of watch it go off into the sunset. I was kind of excited. I haven't been to San Diego in quite some time. But at any rate, we're just watching this guy riding along out here. We're definitely coming up right on the San Onofre area. According to the map, we're at San Onofre right now. So he's basically just moving along out here on the 5 freeway. And the helicopter, the CHP helicopter, is going to have to back off as well. So it's not just us basically pulling the plug. They're going to have to do the same. And then the ground units, take a look. They're starting to fall back as well. So this guy, he might have got lucky this time.
Yeah, and when we talk about no plates on that motorcycle, I mean, if they had plates, you could run the plates. At least you know who owns that, and you might deduce who is on the back of that, or you know, might be able to track that down. But with no plates on the back of that motorcycle, if he's going into restricted airspace and there's weather and the units are backed off because they're going too fast, you can't even see this guy now. He's doing 130 miles per hour, and they back off for his safety and other people around there. He might get away with it.
Yeah, not only does it get really dark along this part of the 5 freeway, but also we have the fog rolling in as well and the marine layer moving in. So it's definitely not an easy task for helicopters overhead to see this guy anymore with the taillights off and just the headlights on. So Stu, do you still have sight of this guy and the ground units that the CHP?
There they are. Those are the last ones right there. They're going to stay with it. And just so you guys know, basically what we're looking at, that's cloud cover. You can see that, you can kind of make it out. I don't know about other people, it's a full moon tonight, but that's all cloud cover right there in the shot. I know it looks like darkness on darkness, and that's what my pilot John is dealing with as well up here tonight, but that's the cloud cover right there, and it's covered that entire area, and it's unsafe to fly over it in Sky 9. So this is where we say goodnight to that motorcycle rider. I was really hopeful to go to San Diego, but it's just one of those things where it's just past San Onofre, and that's the end of that.
Okay, Stu, thank you so much, and safe travels on Sky 9 back to base there as we're going to drop off from this, and we certainly hope if that guy understands that the units are backing off, the helicopters are backing off, that he can just relax and settle down and not drive so fast, not put anybody in danger, and hopefully that'll be the end of that pursuit. And of course, we'll continue to follow that story here on KCAL 9. If anything new happens, we'll break in and let you know.